If you're here for the drama because of the incredibly clickbait thumbnail, well, buckle up, because no drama. The title of this could actually have just been Cubing Now versus Then, or Things I Wish I Knew, or even like Lies We Tell Beginners. But you know what they say, you can take the boy out the drama, but you can't take the drama out the boy. Let's get into it. Lie number 1, be color neutral. Oh, whenever I hear be color neutral as advice, I immediately go on a Mean Girls arc. Oh my god, that is so 2010. Let me break this down into 2 sections actually. Beginner advice and expert reality. I see this tip pop up in beginner tip videos, but there's, I think, a disconnect between what the fastest cubers remember from when they were beginners and what actual beginners struggle with. And let's be real right now, when we look at the distribution of people who can solve a 3x3, I'd wager that 95% of them take longer than 30 seconds. And maybe 70% of those use some variant of the beginner method. Now, you can argue about the percentages, but the point stands. Most cubers, and I do mean most, are still figuring out which color goes where. They're still figuring out that blue is opposite green. Adding in color neutrality for a beginner is insane. It's just insane. The beginner journey should be like a well-lubed cube, smooth to navigate with just the right amount of resistance to make things feel rewarding. And for all you experts out there, I get it. You went down a tough road, you made it through, and you're a better cuber for it. Bravo, gold star for you. But let's take a step back, shall we, and acknowledge something. The first person to get a sub 4 average is almost certainly going to not be full color neutral, because it's either going to be Yihang or Zhuanyi. And Zhuanyi's arrival at the top end has effectively ended the color neutrality debate for 99.9999999% of cubers. When it was just Yihang, people coped hard. Like, oh, he only gets away with it because of the high TPS. But then Zhuanyi pulled up, and he's all about efficiency, not just speed. So if color neutrality isn't a beginner tip, and the best cubers in the world aren't color neutral, or at least full color neutral, maybe it's time to admit it's not a necessity at either end of the spectrum. At best, it's a flex. At worst, it's completely unnecessary. And it is definitely not a beginner tip. Line number 2, I'm calling the uncurable case of rotatophobia. Now, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that based on what I've seen on YouTube, there are only 2 unforgivable sins in cubing. Number 1, suggesting that paying for CFOP packs is... For legal reasons, that's a joke. No, I'm joking. No, it's a joke. It's a joke, I swear. That too soon? Okay, there's a sin. Rotating your cube during solves. Every tutorial embeds this into your brain with all the subtlety of a shotgun blast to the face. You must avoid rotations. It spawned an entire TikTok niche dedicated to do this case rotationless. But here's the thing, this is a lie of omission. The fix is actually simple. Instead of just showing people how to avoid a rotation, explain when and why to rotate. Here, let me demonstrate. And here, obviously, we need to rotate. Why? That's right, because core to our intuitive F2L is edge orientation. So we want the blue on the blue, and then we continue with boom. How hard is that? How hard is it to just embed that phrase? When you watch a tutorial, learn this translation guide that I will try and get on Duolingo. We can avoid a rotation here by doing, hey, you should definitely rotate. Felix Zemdegs started using this wide F insert. You should definitely rotate. Never rotate twice during an F2L case. You will sometimes need to rotate twice. If you're over-rotating, you're not being efficient. If you don't know when to rotate, how can you even tell what over-rotating is? That's not your fault, that's the person teaching you's fault. Actually, well done you for still improving in spite of this mess. Gold star for you. Line number 3, getting it wrong the right way is better than getting it right the wrong way. Oof, That was hard to say. I did like 6 takes to get that right. A big part of my real life job is understanding why people stop learning things, why they take up a hobby, spend time on it, get to the cubing equivalent of sub 30 and then quit. And one of the biggest reasons people give in qualitative research is that they don't feel like they're improving, or worse, they feel like they're failing at moving forward because they can't do what others tell them is easy. And in all activities, there's a point of no return. Cubing has one, or 2, technically. And once you pass those milestones, you're kind of in it for life. And it's the points where you don't feel cringe calling yourself a cuber. And I believe there are 2 key milestones. Number 1 is buying your first speed cube. Side note, by the way, if you don't have a speed cube yet, just get the RS3 MV5. And double side note, if you're in Europe, I have a discount code. And some of you might be thinking, yeah, but you've got no subscribers. Okay, here on YouTube I don't, but go check my TikTok, you know.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, okay, I'm not a big deal. Not a big deal. But I make content. I'm a content creator. And like, if you're in Europe, Cuboss, genuinely, you can avoid import fees like I learned the hard way. I've been begging someone to have a European discount code, and now I've got one. So use mine. That'll save you some money. And milestone number 2 is learning full PLL. Knowing an algorithm for every case gives you that sense of achievement. That's actually why I make so much PLL content on TikTok, especially for annoying cases like EPERMs and VPERMs, giving alternatives that are just easy to remember. Not necessarily the best or the most efficient, but they let you complete your Pokédex of PLLs, so to speak. Actually, the one that I show is just 2 OLLs, right? So it's the case where there's 2 corners not done. Right, so you know this from 2-look OLL. Most people know this from 2-look OLL. So we do this, which sets up this case and goes into that. And that's an EPERM, right? That's super easy to do. Everyone can do this. If you're looking at 2-look full PLL, you probably know 2-look OLL, right? And maybe you don't do that exact OLL case, but it's not that hard, right? The comments that I get on this, it's twofold really. One is, and this is the majority of people, oh, this is super cool, thanks for this. I now know full PLL, yay. Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but it is what it is. Number 2 is from the cubers. But that's not finger trickable. That's not the most efficient way. It's slower than the actual, all of this business. But that's not the point. You're missing the point. When you're a beginner Barry or a sub 30 Andy, done is better than perfect. I said this yesterday. Done is better than perfect. Learning a method that works for you is better than learning the method that doesn't work for you. This won't always be true. When you're at the higher echelons, where you are, you're no longer gold rank and you're trying to get into immortal, for sure, you're going to want the most efficient. But cubing at this beginner stage should be fun. It should be fun. There needs to be a sense of achievement. This is how we grow cubing. I might make a video on PSL and how that's going to make things grow, but don't let overthinking take the fun away. So to recap, you don't need to be color neutral. Rotations aren't the enemy. Just understand when to use them. And done is better than perfect. Just keep solving. And now for the extremely cringe outro. If you found this helpful or even mildly entertaining, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let me know in the comments what's one piece of cubing advice you think is outdated. Catch you in the next one. Peace. How hard is it to just embed that phrase? I'm not saying you should go all children's TV show. I mean, that was oh, wait. For this F2L case that we must pair, assess the edge and then take care. Rotating the cube might be what's best. To decide if that's true, here is the test. When an orange or red edge is on a blue or green center, rotation mode is what we should enter. And the same is true for the opposite case, with a blue or green edge on an orange-red face.